All right, on this Florida-like Thursday evening, it's weather for Weather Geeks time. Temperatures elevated again today, dew points elevated again today, and once again we had elevated rain chances in our forecast for the afternoon. Not everyone got wet, but some of us certainly did. And would you believe it if I told you our heat wave actually ended officially today? Because at the airport we didn't hit 90, we hit 89 as expected. That was our forecast after all, but that does put an official end to the heat wave. We're going to go into the record books as 4 consecutive days with highs in the 90s, but for all intents and purposes, of course, it was just about as hot in most places today as it has been. For the month as a whole, 3 degrees warmer than the average is where we stand, factoring in both highs and lows. In that blow-up of thunderstorms that we had this afternoon, a few reports of wind damage, especially in western PA. One near I-80 on the far eastern side of Mercer County, near the Venango County line. Newcastle and Elwood City over in Lawrence County also had some isolated reports of some wind damage earlier on. Boy, your mileage really varies sometimes in the summer, right? And today was no exception. Some of us didn't have hardly a drop of rain. Some of us picked up a half an inch to an inch or more worth of rain. Some of the hot spots, including down towards East Liverpool, another hot spot around Newton Falls and up towards Southington. Also from Greenville down to Mercer, over into Mercer County, PA. Some places picked up an inch or more worth of rain. With the earlier activity, the highest amounts overall region-wide were in the western end of Pittsburgh, out towards Robinson. Going from downtown Pittsburgh out to the airport, you pass through this area, of course, and thunderstorm there produced 2 to 3 inches worth of rain. These are radar estimates, but there's certainly some ground truth to that, and some flash flood warnings were out for a time earlier on today in the greater Pittsburgh area. All right, we're in the wind-down phase certainly once again this evening, kind of like we were at this time last evening. We still have some pretty hefty thunderstorms to our south and southwest, but all of those are going to miss us. Some of the residual light rain kind of in the anvil clouds from those storms may drift over parts of our area, especially south of Interstate 80, over the next few hours, but not expecting any sort of heavy rain or big impacts from that. You can kind of see how dark the western horizon is on our Canfield Fairgrounds camera here. A nice looking scene over the fairgrounds, but we do have some of those debris clouds overhead, and it looks a little ominous, a little dark, depending on what direction you're looking at, south and west especially. The sky looking a little ominous out there this evening, but again, a little bit of light rain will be a possibility. That should be about it. We'll do this again Friday. Now, my overall song I was singing yesterday was that there would be fewer places that would get wet Friday compared to today. Looking at the data today, it may be splitting hairs a little bit. I think there will be several places that see a pretty good downpour Friday afternoon. Maybe a gusty wind, a puff of wind, if you will. There's a low-end severe weather threat with anything that gets tall enough in the atmosphere Friday afternoon. For all intents and purposes, though, not many large-scale changes until we head towards the weekend. And actually, the trends for the weekend are looking pretty good. This front's going to come through, it looks like, with little fanfare. The modeling has really dried up with the expectations here on Saturday. We're going to pause things mid-morning, and previous runs of some of our modeling, they were showing several showers and storms kind of getting going as this front approaches, but a lot of our high-res modeling is no longer showing that. So I don't want to discount the possibility that someone can see a shower or a thunderstorm, especially morning and midday Saturday. But I don't think the coverage is looking all that high, and in the wake of this front, pretty uneventful weather for the rest of the weekend. Maybe some fog to start Sunday, otherwise a good deal of sunshine, temperatures making their way into the upper 80s. So 84 Saturday and 88 on Sunday. 84 maybe a little low Saturday if we get away completely dry and actually the sky clears rapidly in the afternoon. I wouldn't be shocked if we hit, 86 or something Saturday afternoon. This little respite from the rain, though, over the weekend won't last too long. I do think that showers and storms will return at times Monday and into Monday night. And in the day 5 flash flood risk outlook from the Weather Prediction Center today, they did put our area under a low-end risk of flash flooding because, the same recipe will be here Monday as has been over the last few days. Pretty warm, pretty humid air mass, very efficient rain producers with any thunderstorms. But that early week cold front is the front that's going to usher in a pretty nice change for next week. Now, we have to keep our expectations in check, of course. It's not like we're going to September or October-like weather. It's early July next week, after all. But the one thing we may notice most with the changes middle of next week may not be the temperatures during the day, because it'll still feel like summer. It'll be in the 80s. But at night, with this drier air, the dew points coming down, we'll get a chance to cool off at night, more so than this week. be able to open up the windows perhaps and let a little air in the evenings, as the drier air will allow those temperatures to drop into the 50s to around 60 degrees. As far as daytime temperatures, we're going to be pretty close to the average for a lot of next week, I think, after that warm, soupy start with showers and storms Monday, perhaps parts of Tuesday. After that, lower 80s just about every day seems likely around the 4th of July. I think next Wednesday and Thursday, the 2nd and 3rd, will almost certainly be dry. From the 4th into the long holiday weekend, that remains a question mark, as you would expect, 8, 9, 10 days ahead of time. But I do think we'll string together a couple of really nice summer days, middle of next week, around July 2nd and July 3rd. So there are things to look forward to weather-wise. If you're not a fan of this abnormal heat, and again, it's abnormal, it's not just summertime. This heat is, it's pretty unusual in that we've had a long heat wave at this point, and it's unusual how high the dew points have been for as long as they've been that high. The sustained heat and humidity. Not something we see all that often in June, especially around here. Make it a great rest of your Thursday night. Thanks for watching Weather for Weather Geeks. I'll have a full update coming your way on Friday.